For more, we are joined by Lisa Camuso-Miller, the host of the Friday Reporter podcast. Thanks so much for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, President Trump is saying House Republicans should release the Epstein files. Why do you think his position has shifted?
I think President Trump has always been a very good read on the political environment and the surround sound around issues. And it seems to me like there has been a real shift. And also, too, he's a good read on communications and the way people just are taking in information. I think the takeaway here is that President Trump saw that there was going to be political pressure to release those files and has decided that the resistance to offer access to those files was more news than the actual files themselves. And so I think the president sees this as an opportunity to set the record straight, offer people insight into what happened there, and then to move on from there.
So if Congress acts on President Trump's call, what political ripple effects could this have across both parties?
Well, I think for one, there's a lot of conversation about whether or not the House will vote to release the file and how the Senate will respond. A lot of folks say that it could possibly die in the Senate. I actually think that if over 400 members of the House of Representatives vote to release those files, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the U.S. Senate to do the same. The other question, too, Veronica, is whether or not there even needs to be a vote to release these files. The president himself is in charge of the DOJ. So why, in fact, are they making this procedural process go through in the first place? Why not, if you're the president, just say, release the files and let the noise and the distraction of all of this be over? To me, I think the political pressure is that it is already happening and unfolding before us. And I think that there will be a lot of ripple effect, not only here in the US, but all across the globe.
Now, this has been a years-long, complicated story. Why do you think the Biden administration didn't just release the files?
It's really hard to tell, but President Biden was someone who I think was a very smart, had really smart insights into the impact that these files could have, like I said, not just here in the US, but all across the globe. I suspect that there are probably a lot of our allies who have embarrassing information that are included in these files. And I suspect that it was a diplomatic decision on behalf of the president previously.
So as you mentioned so far, Senate Republicans, they have not committed to holding the vote. Do you think that could change if the majority of House GOP members support it?
Yes, I do. I think that there's going to be a lot of political pressure to vote in favor of opening the files if, in fact, the House does what we expect to do, and that's to vote in a very large majority in favor of that.
And if both the House and the Senate do pass the bill, do you think the Justice Department would release the files?
Well, that I think remains to be seen. I wonder behind the scenes if perhaps the imaging is that the president says that they should vote, that the vote will happen, and then the DOJ will make a different decision. You never know what the lawyers are going to say one way or the other. But I think that ultimately the political pressure on this particular movement has been so incredibly heavy and so incredibly incited, not only on the Republican side, but on the Democrat side. Everyone is eager to have these files open and made available, other than those who perhaps are going to find themselves in a place where they have to defend what's included in there.
Lisa Camuso-Miller, thank you so much.
Thank you.